What is going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the NarikChase channel. I'm your boy NarikChase, and in this video, we are going to be ranking the character Aquaman from the DCEU. Now, it seems like we're just doing this whole DCEU thing, but I decided to go ahead and just knock those bad boys out while we go ahead and talk about this. I did see the Aquaman movie. We had a discussion on it. I did a review on it. Probably gonna have another discussion on it again. What we might want to see from the sequel and or more appearances in the DCEU, but those will be for a later time. As of now, we are just going to be talking about one of the prominent, well, one of the most prominent characters in DC Comics. Now, Aquaman is under the DC Comics license, and he was created by Paul Norris and Mort Weisinger. First making his debut in 1941, and he is one of the founding members of the Justice League. Now, Aquaman is basically the king of it, the king of Atlantis. He's like water adapted. He's super strong. He can talk to sea life. He's has very durable skin from just the pressures of the underwater. So he has those things going for him. Now he has super speed swimming, which is freaking awesome. And he first appeared. He's also been played by another actor, Alan Richson, who portrayed the character in Smallville, which wasn't a bad portrayal, but he's actually made his film debut in Batman v Superman. He came in Justice League, then he had his own movie last year as well. Now, how does Jason Momoa rank as Aquaman? He is seriously one of my favorite characters in the DCU at this point. Not only was he awesome in the Justice League film, but him having his own standalone movie has definitely did a great job of fleshing the character out. He's probably of all the characters that we've seen so far in the DCU, he's probably the most fun. He has great one-liners. He's a tough guy. He's a badass. He's a smart ass. He seems like that one guy that if there was like a barroom brawl, you would definitely want to have him on your team. He just has a great freaking personality. Dude is just freaking awesome all around. And he differs greatly from the comics. Now, if you've seen some of the Justice League, the animated series, or Superman animated series, he does bear a pretty good resemblance to that character where he has the long hair, the beard, and the mustache. And some of the more modern day versions of the character, he does have that look about him. He's built. He looks completely badass. He's fucking awesome. He looks like a rock star, and I think that does a great job of translating to the character. Where he just like I don't give two fucks about nothing. I love that about his character. Now, as far as like how cool the character was, I guess you say how important he is to the DCEU or whatever. I think he's actually not bad. Like I say, he is probably the best version of the character that, like hands down. A lot of the comics have done better with the character. The cartoons have been doing better with the character, but he's dead hands down probably the most. He's not only badass, he's edgy. He has a freaking awesome personality. The dude, Jason Momoa, just like owns this role at this point. Like he's perfect for this role. There's no getting out of that. Don't care what no one says. He is born for this freaking role, and it suits his personality of what you typically see Jason Momoa in. There are roles where you would play other characters, and there would be roles the characters would kind of take on your personality and as a character. And I think Jason Momoa has finally found like that character. Like that's his shtick. So, I love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. To me, she is that she's like perfect for the role. Now, are they say other women can't play it? No, there's a bunch of women that can play Wonder Woman, but she definitely owns it. And I would say Jason Momoa definitely owns the role as Aquaman. He's a good character. He's the best version that they've said. He's pretty well written too. Yes, he is like this hardcore, edgy, badass, smart ass dude that doesn't care. But he's got layers. He does do a lot of good for people. He does try to look out for people, despite humanity, despite many bad things that people do. He does go out his way to save. You see that in You know, in Justice League, you see him do a good deed for for a group of people, bringing them fish. That's and for a small town. That's so they won't grow hungry. And of course, Aquaman. Well, the first thing you see, he ends up saving this crew that's on this submarine. Uh, Takes out the bad guys and brings them to safety. Like despite his personality, he does have a good heart, and he does use his powers and abilities to help others. So I really enjoy seeing that about the character. Now, also buried beneath that tough exterior is he does have a want for the mother, um, which is not a bad motivation, and the story behind that actually does make him a bit not only is he an outsider to Atlantis and everything, but he also doesn't give two craps about Atlantis because of what has happened with his mother and how that has affected his life. So there is a big developing arc that does get introduced in Justice League, but we do get to see it get resolved, and we see it get flashed out more in Aquaman. So definitely get to know a bit more about this character and how badass he is and what drives him. Um, and also, as I said, Jason Momoa completely kills as a character. I'm sure there's some other guys who can sit here and say that would play a good Aquaman, and I'm quite sure that I actually did come up with a list of characters that could play Aquaman. Now, did I do one for the DCU version of the character? No, but I will say once I find it, you'll be able to. And I didn't do a video on it either. I don't think. So I think that's another thing I need to start working on. I should have had this pulled up, guys. I'm just terrible at this. I'm working on it. I am working on it. Aquaman. Okay, yes. I did have four actors that I did say would probably be a pretty cool Aquaman for varying reasons. And if you do want to see that video, to see that post, I would guess I'll try to remember to leave the link in the description box so you can click on it and read the people that I said will play a good Aquaman. There's Nicolas Coster-Waldau, who is mostly known for being Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones. Of course, Ryan Gosling. I did actually say Greyston Holt. I've known him from the TV show Bitten. He kind of has that rock star look about him as well. And Gerard Butler, who I think will actually play a similar portrayal of the character that we see Jason Momoa do. So, as I've said, Jason Momoa does a fantastic job with the character. The guy's freaking awesome, and I love the fact that he was cast for it. Now, does he look like the character? Again, he does. He has the facial features of the character, the long hair, the beard, all of that just fits into the narrative of the character as well. The how he's built, his physique, the dude's ripped straight out of stone. He's got the tattoos on him. Looks freaking badass, muscular. There's just like they not only just got a guy that looks like the character, just he just is the character. It looks like somebody just drew him and he just walked straight up off the paper. So, and Jason Momoa is usually played a lot of tough guys and stuff. I think he was actually the bad guy from that movie, A Bullet to the Head. The only good thing about that freaking movie was him. I think. I actually think that was him, cause I did not like that movie. But I did like the bad guy in it. You know what? I'm finna make sure. I am finna make sure. Now he did play Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones. He was in this show called Frontier, but I hadn't actually seen it, so I'm not gonna put it out there. Now I did like him in Conan the Barbarian. I thought he was pretty cool. Yep, he was the guy in Bullet to the Head. Okay, see, he was fucking 100 times better than Sylvester Stallone character. I give you that. But yeah, he's actually been in some pretty cool things. And if you have seen Game of Thrones as Khal Drogo, you're like, yeah, that's kind of his. He's always played like this really tough guy type guy, and he does a good job of it. Now in terms of character design, like I said, the character looks freaking awesome. Looks just like him. Now the costumes in the movies, the costumes change. In the first Justice League, he had a bit of a. In the Justice League, he had like this armored look, and I thought that would look pretty cool. because it looks freaking badass. I love watching people have look. I'm to be honest. I do not like the like cartoon designs of costumes and stuff. Like in the cartoons, they work, yes, but like when they translate them to real life, it looks shitty as hell. They look like people look like porn stars and stuff and look goofy and just look retarded. Never liked them. That's why when they came back with the new Batman design for the DCEU, I loved it. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, it looked like she looks like an Amazon. It looks really cool. It looks like a mesh of her original design later on mixed with Amazon, so it looks pretty cool. So it's armored up. Superman, I loved his. His looked armored and form fitting, but it wasn't like tights. And then, like I said, with his and Justice League, it was armored and it looked fucking amazing. And then we get another variation of it in Aquaman, and then he just wears the vest and stuff, and that looks pretty cool. Like just wearing pretty clothes, not pretty cool clothes and stuff. But in the end, we did get to see him in the traditional Aquaman outfit, where it's like this yellow bodysuit with the green boots and gloves. And at first, I admit it, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it looked kind of goofy. It looked kind of goofy, but it looked armored, so I didn't mind it. It looks pretty cool. I give it that. It looks pretty cool. It's a little goofy, but it looks pretty cool too. So I didn't really have too much of an issue with it. I thought it looked pretty cool. It fit into the whole Zack Snyder verse of the DC comics, so I did not mind. I thought, I give it to him. It was actually pretty cool. So I have no problem with that. And the use of his abilities, the increased strength looks actually pretty cool. The durability looks pretty cool. Uh, how they utilize his ability to talk to the animals, the different sea life was fucking amazing. Didn't look cheesy. It looked cool, especially during the end battle. He summons an army of sea life, and they just wage war in the best way they can. So it looks pretty cool. But of course, one of the best highlights of his abilities, of course, is the super fast swimming, and with the camera angles and the visual effects, it just looks fucking amazing. So it just looks pretty cool. And then like the trident, of course, it was pretty cool seeing the trident. And then he had a different variation of a different trident, which looked pretty cool as well. How they're able to fight underwater with the trident was actually pretty cool too. So okay, I just it's it's done really well for the most part. Now, how important is the character? He's just awesome. He's front and center. He's interesting. He's funny. He's likable. He's just straight up fun. And he's just straight up entertaining. You can definitely tell that just Momoa just having a blast with the role, and it does a great job of reflecting in the character, making him a very interesting watch. I love the developing arc that we do see introduced again in Justice League, where he is a bit distant from Atlantis for multiple reasons. Him being a half breed, it's kind of like their thing against him, but at the same time, he has a grudge against Atlantis for a very understandable reason, of course, with the issue that go on with his mother. So I'm not going to really spoil it if you hadn't seen the movie, but I find it hard to believe you hadn't watched Aquaman yet. And he's like I said, he is definitely the spotlight. He's definitely there. There's no moment where he just feels secondary to anybody. He's definitely there, and he does a fantastic job. And I love the relationship that he has to each of these different characters. I wish they would have explored it a little bit more in Justice League. I will say that. Despite me liking the movie, I wish they could have explored the relationship between the characters a bit more. But in Aquaman, you get to see different things get pulled out of the character. You know, his relationship to his father, his mother, this relationship with Mira, which it feels like they're. I like the fact that in the movie they don't feel like they're like romantically involved or even remotely romantic in any way for the majority of the movie, because a lot of movies like this, like it's love like at first sight, and then they just try not to. No, it's like no, the majority of the movie they didn't even like each other. But by the end of the movie, there's something there, and it's done exceptionally well. Orm is his brother, who is his rival and one of the antagonists of the freaking movie. But I also like that there's there's something there because they are brothers, and it isn't just full on hate. And the movie does a great job of kind of fleshing at that, where it's like, okay, you're my brother, and I understand you want to do this bad thing, but I want us to kind of just relate to one another and talk and stuff. And I really enjoyed that aspect of the character as well. And also, of course, you finally get to see he just has this Black Manta who has this grudge against him, and you can understand why both of the characters kind of viewed the situation that they did. So overall, Jason Momoa's performance as Aquaman was just fucking amazing. I'm not gonna question it. He was a great Aquaman. He was awesome. He is like the definitive Aquaman. You remember when Heath Ledger became the Joker? Everybody bitched about it until the movie came out, and it's like, okay, no, he is definitively the Joker. I'm gonna and highlight. Most people think Christopher Reeve is the definitive Superman. Look, I love him career. I think he's a fucking awesome Superman. But I say Christopher Reeve. I will say that Joseph Momoa is Aquaman, hands down. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, good. Ian McClellan as Magneto, and Patrick Stewart as Professor X. Yes, Jason Momoa as Aquaman, fucking awesome. I want to see more from this character, and I want to see him continue on giving us a good Aquaman character in whatever capacity that they can give to the character. Dude's fucking awesome. I love his version of Aquaman. I would say Jason Momoa's ranking as Aquaman is definitely a fucking 5 out of 5. Really enjoyed the guy. He definitely owns this role. So, guys, in the comment section below, let me know what are your thoughts about Jason Momoa's performance as Aquaman. Did you like him? Did you not like him? Uh, Also, who would you cast for the character if you had a choice to cast him? Be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best of what we got going on this channel, guys. We'll catch you guys later.